It's Friday, so once again, I'm taking a few stories from around the web, stories that are important but that either just wouldn't fill a full video or I just plain missed out on covering during the week. I'm planning on doing these more often going forward too, so if you have stories you want to see covered next week, just drop them in the comments or hit me up at Rene Ritchie on Twitter. On deck for today are some privacy-promising iOS updates, Facebook's $5 billion fine, iPhone 11 photography, and the return of the Galaxy Fold. So hit subscribe, Phoenix Eye Fist that bell gizmo so you don't miss a show. I'm Rene Ritchie and this is Vector. There's a bunch of stuff in the iOS 12.4 update that went out on Monday, including improvements to Apple News and how it handles magazine downloads, as well as a fix for the watchOS walkie-talkie exploit that had Apple take down the entire service a couple of weeks ago. The most interesting though is migration. Basically, it's a new way to transfer data from your old iPhone or iPad to your new iPhone or iPad. It works similarly to the existing quick setup, same Bluetooth LE proximity handshake, Wi-Fi speed connection, camera and animation code possession insurance, all of that. But there are a couple of major differences. First, instead of going through Apple's online iCloud backup service to restore your data, it moves that data directly from one device to the other over a peer-to-peer ad hoc Wi-Fi network. At least mostly. Because of app thinning, which is Apple's technology to optimize apps for specific devices, namely, only downloading the exact resources like images you need for your exact screen size and density, and the bitcode for your exact processor, migration will still re-download your apps from the App Store, but then it will move your app data across directly. Second, you can do it with a wire if you prefer, and you have one handy. You'll likely need an adapter, for example a USB-A to Lightning adapter, so you can plug into both devices. But once you have it, just plug it in and go. iMore has a complete how-to up, of course, link in the description. But as much as I find the implementation, especially the security aspects, fascinating, I find the implications, especially the privacy aspects, even more so. Sure. Going over Wi-Fi Direct instead of using iCloud removes a potential point of failure in terms of recency of last online backup, storage space remaining, internet connectivity, and iCloud service status. But most importantly, it removes iCloud and Apple from almost all of the chain. You're still authenticating with your Apple ID and downloading apps from the App Store, but none of your personal data is hitting the internet or flowing through anyone else's server. I've talked about the Chinese government mandating Apple store Chinese data in China in a previous video, but it's far from a China-only issue. Increasingly, other countries are demanding data storage be localized as well. And let's face it, given past policy and behavior, even some locals aren't comfortable with data being stored on servers based in the US or UK either. You could previously restore locally using iTunes and the Mac or Windows. Now you can do it directly, which means you don't even need a Mac or Windows machine, which is critical in some markets and to some people. It doesn't solve for backup, online or local, and that's something everyone should be super keenly aware of. And yes, I'd love, capital L-O-V love Apple to release a next generation router that includes private iCloud capabilities to really tap into this privacy focus. And if you want to see that too, please hit up the comments and let Apple know. On Wednesday morning, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, announced the biggest fine of its kind in history, $5 billion with a B dollars against Facebook for failing to protect user privacy, including and especially the data of friends, failing to honor a prior consent decree, and straight up lying to all of us about it so damn always. Ben Thompson sums it up succinctly in his Stratechery newsletter. The FTC's complaint also accuses Facebook of failing to vet third-party developers, treating developers differently based on their financial importance to the company, deceiving users by using phone numbers meant for security to target ads, and opting in some users to facial recognition technology without their agreement. All of these were held to violate the 2012 order's requirement for a reasonable privacy program. While the amount may sound high to us normal humans, it's a drop in the quarterly earnings bucket for Facebook, and both the company and investors have had ample time to prepare for it and discount it. Like docking your kid $1 from their $20 allowance after they'd already canceled just one of their dollar menu dashes for the week. Those who voted against the fine wanted more, up to and including personal liability for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook's other officers. And that's something I'm personally hugely in favor of, since I think it's about the only real way we'll elicit any real change. Those who voted for it felt like it was the best deal they could get, lacking enough funding to push harder or survive Facebook pushing back harder under the threat of harsher penalty. Do I think it will change anything, even short term? No. I do not. When a company tells you who they are, believe them. Facebook and Google, for that matter, are already engaged in what I like to call the great privacy gaslight of our time. Facebook is intent on conflating privacy with encryption and Google with retention, offering us the word privacy without the action while rolling out ever flashier services and devices expressly devised to ever better harvest from us our data. And since most politicians seem hopelessly outdated, if not totally outclassed when it comes to technology, the only ones who can currently protect us are ourselves by not giving over our data to begin with. But I'd love to know what you think. Was the fine enough? Too much? And what else do you think needs to be done? Every year, seemingly always right before Apple earnings, we get a bunch of weird stories about how the next iPhone will be boring or must skip or whatever. Never mind the criticisms levied are true of pretty much every phone, pretty much every year, and that Apple hasn't even taken the stage to show off any of the new features that will be coming with the new phone, something no CAD-based dummy model can ever provide. We just get premature pontifications and the scaldingest of hot takes. But it's those features that help sell those phones. And thanks to Guy Rambo at 9to5Mac, we've gotten a few more details about one of the features Mark Gurman of Bloomberg rumored a while back. Yeah, spoiler alert. The new third camera on the iPhone 11 is widely expected to be a super wide angle. With it, you'll be able to zoom out the way you can currently zoom in with the two camera systems. And that's cool and all, but here's where it starts to get really compelling. Smart Frame. Snap a pic, and if it didn't get exactly who or what you wanted, exactly where you wanted it, you will be able to adjust it in post. So if you cut a friend or family member off, or fail to, or you just want that cup of coffee more to the left or right, iPhone 11 will be able to use the data from the ultra-wide angle to do just that. And according to Guy, that includes both perspective and crop. Now, Apple's keeping those three cameras equilateral for reasons that I think go beyond just this as well. So while I'm ludicrously happy with each and every advance in computational photography, from Apple to Google to Huawei and everyone, and I can't wait to use this feature in the field, it's just going to be one of the things we see demoed in September. Just one. So I'm going to just say this again. Avoid the dumb dull takes right now. Let them die. Kill them if you have to. Then, and only then, compare iPhone 11 to what else is out there and decide for yourself. And hey, if you disagree with that, I'd love to know why, so yell at me in the comments. I've said this before as well. The history of human technology has been foldables, books, wallets, flip phones. We fold because it's convenient and protective, and that's why I think the future will be, at least in part, foldable as well. From wearables to phones to laptops to desktops to forget all that and think about everything that blurs all of the lines all in between. But to be 100% crystal clear, I still think that's the future, not the present, not until it's proven to be workable given the current constraints of current technology. Trying to prove it right now are Huawei and Samsung. Huawei hasn't shipped yet, so we'll see what happens when and if they do. Samsung tried to ship too early, had a bunch of problems with early review units, and had to stop, pause, reset. And now they think they have. According to Samsung, the Galaxy Fold is back, or will be, this September. It's not a redesign. I don't want to call it a patch job, though maybe that's closer to the truth. Here's what they've done. They've extended the protective layer beyond the bezel. So, hopefully, no one, including reviewers, will mistake it for just exactly the type of peel-off Samsung has a history of slapping on other phones, and stop fiddling with it until it starts coming off. They've also reinforced the something unclear to try and keep debris from getting into the hinge mechanism and piercing back up through the screen. They've added caps, additional metal layers have also been added, and the space between the hinge and the body has been reduced, also to protect against particle ingress. And I'm eager to see it ship and see how well it works in the wild. It still feels like an alpha, never mind beta product, and at $2,000 you'll be paying for the privilege of publicly testing bleeding edge tech. But I've said this before as well, just like Apple is often our more conservative cousin while wacky cousins Samsung and Huawei just keep throwing ideas at the wall, I think having both approaches just gets us to the future faster. Yes, absolutely, I'm concerned that this patch job won't be anything more than that, a patch job, and I wonder if Samsung and the market wouldn't both have been better served just by canceling it and announcing a whole new Fold 2 design will be coming sometime in the future. But it is what it is, so fingers crossed it delivers, even if only to highlight what needs to be done better and next. Still, I can't wait to see CuriosityStream on it. CuriosityStream is the world's first streaming service to address our lifelong quest to learn, explore, and understand. It features original content with Stephen Hawking, Sigourney Weaver, Michio Kaku, David Attenborough, Sylvia Earle, Jane Goodall, and many more. And it works great on Android, on iOS, on pretty much every popular screen. Take Trek Nation, for example. Before Picard was the new current hotness, the son of the creator of Star Trek went out and explored his father's famous creation and how it has affected people. Go to curiositystream.com/vector for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and nonfiction series, and enter the promo code VECTOR to start your membership completely free for the first 30 days. Thanks CuriosityStream, and thanks to all of you for supporting the show. And that's a wrap, at least for this week. iOS 12.4, Facebook's big fine, iPhone 11 smart frame, and Galaxy ReFolded. Of course, I'd love to hear everything that you think about any and all of these stories, but I'd also really like to know what you want to see me cover next. So, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps out the channel, and then hit up the comments below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next video.